Imagine a time where Friday nights meant a trip to Blockbusters, where the aisles were filled with VHS tapes awaiting you lot, eager movie watchers, right? So Blockbusters was the king of movie rentals, a true cultural phenomenon.
Wait, are you pressing the right button?
This is what, the next button?
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Right now.
Weird. So anyway, who'd have then thought?
It's going to be the clicker.
It's going to, do you want to be?
Yeah. Yeah. We haven't got any AI to work out the clicker.
I know, yeah. Technology. So who'd have then thought that a $40 late fee would signal the start of the collapse of a true media giant? And that's where this guy comes in, Reed Hastings. And basically, Reed Hastings was returning a copy of Apollo 13 to his local Blockbuster store, and he incurred a $40 late fee. And in his anger and his annoyance, he imagined a world where late fees didn't exist when you were renting movies. And in that moment, Netflix was born. And basically, Netflix at the time wasn't streaming. It was a DVD by mail service. So we move on a little bit to the year 2000. Netflix has grew. And Reed Hastings is sat in the same boardroom as the CEO of Blockbuster, and he's pitching the CEO of Blockbuster that they should rebrand as Blockbuster Online. And he's offering Netflix to Blockbuster for $50 million. That to me sounds like a pretty good deal, doesn't it, John?
Sounds like a great deal.
It does sound like a good deal, right? Like Ant and Dec, right? So, but no, and the CEO of Blockbuster notoriously stares back at Reed Hastings and basically just laughs him out the whole room, right? And the reason is Blockbuster had done a round of surveys, and they came to the conclusion that streaming was not a risk to the business, and that people enjoyed coming into the local stores, reading the back of the DVDs and buying popcorn, and that streaming was never going to take off. It was just going to be basically a massive risk for piracy. Okay, so Blockbuster's completely ignored that. Anyway, so this is Blockbusters. They continued with their 6,000 stores. I think they had 6,500 stores. They continued it around here. Netflix released their streaming platform in 2007. And then you can see their sort of meteoric boost upwards. And then you can see Blockbusters, within like 2-3 years, they declared bankruptcy. 6,500 stores to one store in 2-3 years. They were a media giant, and they got completely decimated. Whereas Netflix were the underdog. They used new technologies, they improvised, they outmaneuvered them, and then now they are the giants in the space. So what have we learned from this, apart from it being a story time? Adaptability is crucial. So I think a big part of that is you need to adapt with new technologies. Otherwise you risk being left behind, even if you're the market leader. Like this has happened many times. Blockbuster is just one example, right? The second, the underdog can win. The true beauty about being a startup or a small business is the fact that you can move faster with new types of technology, and you can outmaneuver the big boys who are, slow and not very good. And innovation and flexibility. So evolve with the new technologies. So the agenda, what we wanted to cover today was who are we briefly, a brief history of AI, why it's the time to adapt, and how AI can help you and your marketing. So we're going to cover things like content, creative, SEO, media buying, data reporting, and then a Q&A. One of the things that me and John were really big on here was to hold nothing back. So we want to give you as much as we possibly can across as many different areas, and hopefully you guys will genuinely get something to take away from this, and it's not just wiffle waffle theory type stuff. So I'll just introduce myself briefly, and then I'll pass on to John. So who are Ignite SEO? So we were founded in August 2020, mid-pandemic. I've previously ran a successful full-service agency before I niched down. I found mid-pandemic that people didn't want a jack of all trades. They wanted a master. They wanted an expert in what they do. And that's predominantly what we do. We do one thing very, very well, and then nothing else. There's better people to do websites and social media and all the rest of it. And we're recognized by industry peers and clients as being a leader in SEO. Our core values are pride in our people, our processes, which is probably my OCD, and our customer service. So if you guys have ever hired an SEO agency, you'll know transparency is an issue. It's a great art. It's all magic. We try and take that out with our customers. Our clients are genuinely treated as an extension of our business, and we're very outcome oriented. No one cares about SEO, right? No one. Let's be honest. No one cares about algorithms. What you guys care about is how many leads are you generating? How much is that business is actually turned into actually cash? And that's fundamentally what we focus on. Does it drive an ROI? And the way that we consistently do that is we follow a tried and tested SEO success framework, which is something I've been working on pretty much for 12 years since I've been in this industry. And it's a very paint by numbers formulaic system where we can take pretty much any brand, whether it's small or large, take them through a process. Within 6 to 12 to 18 months, depending on how competitive the industry is, you can dominate your sector. So I shall now pass on to John.
If at any point you've got questions or you want to disagree with anything we say or anything, just get involved. So I'm John Readman. I'm not his father. I prefer to think more like a bigger brother. But I've been in, who remembers the first time they phoned a call center and someone said, what's your postcode? And they told you your address. And that was like magic, wasn't it? I worked for the company that invented that called QAS. We grew that business and we sold it to Experian, and they sold it to Experian for £100 million cash, real money, and they could leave the next day. And I was always inspired by that. I was a sales director, I had a small shareholding, helped me get my first flat in Clapham. But I've always been involved in marketing and technology, and now I run 3 businesses. One's Ride 25, which is a cycling business. We're briefly going to touch on that because Jess and I are cycling to Australia. If she hasn't told you, we will tell you later. Modo 25, which is an in-housing agency. So we help those businesses who want to take their marketing in-house. We help you take you on a journey because it's hard, right? And actually, there's always a place for an agency in the strategy and the thinking level. And then what we lead on is our marketing AI platform called AskBosco. But there's a bit of a bigger picture behind AskBosco. I met my co-founder, who was the founder of Skyscanner, a charity bike ride. We're cycling from London to Sydney over 25 years. And him and I were like, when we set this business up, we need a bit of a bigger purpose. So we named our agency after one of the children, Modo, at the charity, and she represents 280 other children at the charity. And the charity is run by a guy called Bosco. So we thought, who does Modo ask for sort of vision and direction? Well, she'll ask Bosco. So we set up the software company as AskBosco. So that's sort of the background of our business. Similar to Adam, we're all about people, and we are a top 5 tech business to work for in the UK. But that's sort of less about us. Who cycles? Right, come and see me afterwards. We're going to cycle to Australia and we're going to raise loads of money to save children in Africa. So we're cycling from London to Sydney over 25 legs. You don't have to commit to all 25, right? You can just do one at a time. But we literally have 80 founders setting off in September from Geneva to cycle to Milan. Who's ever been on like a really good sort of ski trip where they thought that's really good? It's like a ski trip on a bike, right? Slightly less Jägermeister, but it's like a ski trip on a bike. So, and we make up for it at the end. We have a big party at the end. So come and see me afterwards if you're up for that. But this is a homegrown official event. We started from homegrown outside here 2 years ago. We went from here to Paris, then we went from Paris to Geneva, and we will have cycled all the way from homegrown to Sydney over 25 years. So anyway, I'm going to get into a bit of sort of like what's all the hype about AI. So when we first launched AskBosco 4 years ago, we were calling it AI, and everybody was scared. Like, we're not going to let the robots take over. That's really quite worrying. So we changed it to predictive analytics. Then ChatGPT came along and everybody's like, no, we want some AI. So we had to rebrand back to sort of AI. But it's like everybody's going on strike. Everybody's like, there's a lot of negative press about AI out there, and it's going to steal all your jobs, right? Everybody's going to lose their job. It's a disaster. But I think as a species, we have a real tendency to panic about new things. Okay, so when the bicycle came along, we were going to have to put all the horses down. And when the car came along, it was the same. So I think we've got to work out where AI fits in and where does it fit in for your job. And so what we're going to sort of talk about now is it's not necessarily about taking your job. It's about how do you embrace it into what you're doing. And we're going to share loads of tools, loads of techniques, loads of things you can just screenshot. We'll share. Can we share this afterwards? Yeah, we'll share the recording. We'll share the deck. So we're not, and a lot of the tools we're talking about, the ones we've played with or our teams have played with, and are our opinion on what we think is useful. You might have a different opinion. You might have a different tool, a different idea. But these, and the challenge is there's so many different tools out there. How many times do you get on LinkedIn 25 best AI tools to use this week, right? Every single day we're getting bombarded. So this is our view, and we've got teams of people who've tested all this other stuff out. And Adam's going to give you a real practical, almost like business plan using his techniques and everything. So you've got like a way of doing it. So this was Dali. I said, give us a picture of an ostrich with its head in the sand, text to image. And it gave me that. And I thought that wasn't too bad. So now's the time to adapt, right? It's not to be the ostrich, right? We've got to start thinking about what we're going to do. So, Adam.
Oh, cheers. Come up here. Back on. Cool. So, what's to come next? So now, what I would say the focus is, and what your focus should be on initially, is advanced chatbots and conversational AI. I don't know whether, I mean, seriously, just pay for ChatGPT 4.0. I think it's what, like $20 a month, something like that. I mean, if even that, the amount of the stuff, what you can get in that, like the way it browses the internet now is just like ridiculously better than it was 6 months ago. And I don't know whether anyone's heard of Moore's Law. That whole thing is meant to be completely like shot now, because the rate in which this stuff is like progressing is like exponential. So what you'll find as well is a lot of, like you said, the top 25 AI tools, like all of this, a lot of those are going to be out of date, and ChatGPT is fundamentally going to do a lot of this stuff pretty quickly. Predictive analytics to optimize campaigns. I touched on this briefly, but we've only got like an hour. I would 100% be using a tool called Julius, which I'll briefly show you in a bit. It's incredible for predictive AI, for predictive analytics, and generative AI for content creation. I think this is the biggest opportunity. Like, I can come at you with like tons of different AI, like things which make me sound really clever, or I can actually try and give you guys like a foolproof, step-by-step, simple process of being able to create content at scale. And realistically, like, you are living through one of the most, when it comes to opportunity, as much as you possibly can. Sorry, yeah, but
sorry to you did say you could ask questions.
Yeah, go for it.
Two questions. One, chatbots has a huge stigma around the name of that. So what's the difference between chatbots and conversational AI? And two, using ChatGPT, the LLM is trained on the internet. It's 2 years out of date. So you need something like retrieval augmented generation to get later information. So why invest in it now? Why not wait until a later version?
So depending on how you set up the ChatGPT that's out in the public domain is trained on an old version of the internet. You can get the licensed version of ChatGPT and train it on your own data. So you could get ChatGPT and train it on your FAQs, train it on all your user manuals, and train it internally, right? And then it becomes a lot more useful. And the whole conversational AI versus chatbot is basically the same thing, right? So it's just rebranded itself because chatbots have got a bad name. I don't know if anybody saw the DPD chatbot car crash where someone was having a chat with the DPD chatbot, and in the end it said, don't use DPD, the worst delivery company in the world, right? In their own chat. I wouldn't use them either, sort of thing. And that was and it went viral. So I suppose something we will come on to, AI is only as good as the data it's trained on, right? So using open source AI that's using historical data from the internet is useful for building ideas and for building plans and giving you inspiration, but maybe you've got to fact check everything. So we've got some travel clients who were trying to do it to do resort guides. They thought, oh, this would be brilliant. We'll just ask, and it's just all wrong. It's suggesting bars and restaurants that aren't even in that city. So it comes with a word of warning, and you've obviously learned because you've tried it.
If it's not full automation and you have to check it, or it's augmented, or in a regulatory or compliance industry, you lose that saving now.
Well, it depends. It depends on how you trained it.
And I'm not saying it's a line. I'm just curious. That's all.
Yeah. Well, no, it's a very valid point, but I would say it's how you train the AI or where you train it from. And if you get the paid for version and train it on your data or upload, or if you're the travel company, what we've done with them is we've uploaded all their documentation from their website and just trained it on that.
And the point is as well, like, yeah, AI does hallucinate, and it hallucinates a lot. But the point is that this stuff is progressing at such a rate. Do you want to be the guy who's like, no, we'll wait for it in 5 years' time, and then you're well behind the 8 ball? So we'll speed through anyway, because otherwise I think you know, we might be here for quite a long time. But so what's the future of AI? Faster innovation, I think, is like, well, that's sort of on that point, right? Is that this stuff is going to innovate substantially faster. I mean, if you actually have a look at the images it creates now to 6 months ago, is like astronomically different. Things like causal AI, which is based on cause and effect, rather than generative AI, which is based on more patterns. I think that's definitely the way it's going to fundamentally go. I genuinely do believe there's going to be mass layoffs. I feel like all of these companies are saying, no, you know, there's new jobs which are going to appear. Like all these big organizations are laying off people at mass. And the reason is, rather than having 5 software developers, you can have one who's using multiple AI agents, which are doing the tasks of the other 4 software engineers. I think longer term, Alexa and Google Home voice search is going to become pretty wild, right? So the way I predict it, and I might be wrong, would be you could say, look, you know, my child's having a birthday party, you know, we need the recipe for this. 2 of them have nut allergies, blah, blah, blah. Can you create me the recipe? Can you go and order that from Sainsbury's and get it delivered? I think that's probably where it's going to go. And then programmatic ads, which is something obviously yourselves, the man on. I'm only the SEO guy, right? So when it comes to ads, don't speak to me about it. So AI is coming for your job. This is the favorite tweet, and I think this is like well over a year ago. I'm not sure if it says the date, 2023, Jan 2023. AI will not, and this is me, by the way. AI will not replace you. A person using AI will. And I think that fundamentally is true. And that's why now, like, I'd be trying to play with these things, try and get used to them, understand just the basic fundamentals, because it will put you a million miles ahead of your competitors for sure.
And I would say the play with it yourself. One thing I initially did is I tried to get all the team to play with it, and then I didn't understand what was going on. We actually put an incentive in our whole business, a cash incentive across all the different teams to say, right, what different AI can you use to speed up the process, either for your day-to-day work or for your client work? And then we made them all submit their, and there was, in the end, we gave up 3 prizes because there were so many good entries. But we were, because I think a lot of people are almost scared to admit, oh, I'm using AI, when they think they should be doing it themselves. And I think you've, as a business, you've got to say, this is the future, we're going to adopt it. But also as a business leader, you need to have a play with it and have a go, because otherwise you won't understand. So you need to block out some time and have a play with all these different tools we're going to share with you. So this is Mid-Journey, and we're going to go through a few sort of different tools. Adam's going to talk more later about ChatGPT particularly, but we're going to go through some sort of examples of content generation apps. We really love this one, and after this we will upload the video to 85, and 85 will produce as a blog, and it will just do it, right? And then we'll just check that it represents what we actually said or didn't say, and then we'll publish it to the website, and we'll have saved someone a couple of hours. Right, and it works. It's just really simple, and it's nice.
Very good for podcasts.
Yeah, great for podcasts, loads of other stuff as well. So we really recommend 85. This other one, Designer, this is a similar one, and it does it for everything. We've tested it for lots of different things. Again, so the whole idea of create something once and use it many times. This is where AI can really, really help you. And go back to your point, this is closed on your content now. So you can create something once, whether that's a voice note, turn it into an article, or whatever it is. And this stuff's now super reliable. So this is all pretty practical stuff that your marketing team can use. This was then, I thought this is Gamma. And I thought, well, I'm doing a presentation on AI, so why don't I just ask Gamma to do it? And this is what I did. We didn't ask Gamma because we've got some experience, but this is what you could do. And this is just genuinely a screen recording of me doing it. I should have set it to some pinky plonky music. And I can't spell, obviously. That's the other one, Grammarly. That's the best AI. Grammarly. Get Grammarly on your computer. Right, so you just came up with that, and then you just click generate, choose what theme you want, and you can just pick your theme, generate. I know, I obviously was a bit indecisive on the theme. And we were playing around with this, and then you can just, so it starts writing it all, and actually the content of this is pretty good. All right, and this is from the broader web, but I actually did it a different one. So write me a presentation about AskBosco from the askbosco.io as if it was a sales pitch for a new client, and it went away and did it. All right, so if you just want to get ideas, on what slides you should have, this could be a really good prompt generator. And then you can just download it as a PowerPoint. All right. So that's going to save you tons of time. So that one's called Gamma. And then there, this is what the deck looked like. So, and that you saw, that was how long it took to do. All right, so Gamma, we tested lots of different PowerPointy ones. I think that one's one of the better ones. Right, so this is scary, right? Especially when there's an election year coming on, with deep fakes, okay? So this, I'll share the QR code for this one. This is called HeyGen. And yeah, so this is, oh.
Hello there.
Oh,
I'm a random AI person who would like to recommend AskBosco, the reporting and forecasting AI for online.
We did have the sound. Let me just, it might be my end here.
I've got that there.
Is it back on?
Yeah. Just the variety, please.
It was working before when we did the tech.
Perfect timing. I can get a beer.
Hello there. I'm a random.
That's weird. I'll just put it out the speakers here. Right, you're going to have to listen carefully. We've only got a couple with sound, so you have to listen to the just coming out of here. Let me just change where this sound's coming out of here.
Hello there. I'm a random AI person who would like to recommend AskBosco, the reporting and forecasting AI for online retail.
So there's a library of videos. You just type in what you want to say, and they'll say it. All right, so that's sort of interesting, not that revolutionary. Or this is then me, and I was talking at an IMRG retail event about Google marketing, AI, this sort of stuff. And I thought I'd open up. So I actually recorded this, and they thought it was me answering the person at the speaker. It was like a live podcasty thing.
Thank you, Andy. Not good news for online retail now. Even more offensive when you consider that Google has just announced huge billions of pounds profit from advertising sales. So makes you wonder whether or not we're all just coming to work every day in online retail to make Google more money.
So I've never said those words.
Based on a photo.
Pardon?
Based on a photo, a single photo.
Oh no, based on you have to record yourself on video, and you have to record some words, and then it will just. So now I can type anything in, and I've sent these to my team before, and a few of them like, what's going on? And it's the eyes, they reckon. It's not perfect yet, but this is getting better. Or you can have it in French.
Merci Andy. Permettez-moi maintenant de partager mes réflexions sur l'IA et sur la manière dont elle peut aider la vente au détail en ligne.
Or you can have it in Chinese.
谢谢你, Andy.
Right. So have a play, right? You'll lose days of your lives, but think about the practical application. If you run a big company, you're trying to communicate to lots of people in a different language, an important message, that's quite useful. Or if you've got a training video you're trying to do, or if you're trying to do videos on your website. So we're constantly trying to do video. So we just had a disaster. The guy who does all our video voiceovers for our software has just left, right? He's 2 or 3 years out of uni, skipped and building site have just pinched it, right? I'm really annoyed. Anyway, but so now, I suppose who owns his voice? Could we train the AI? Can't we just train the AI on his voice? So, but anyway, this is where I think it's going to get abused is you're going to, a bit like email, you can do mass personalization. Arguably now you could do mass personalized video, and that would be a bit scary and a bit freaky.
I was just going to say Scarlett Johansson's baby.
Well, someone stole her voice or didn't, yeah. Yeah. So, but this is interesting, and I think there's going to be use cases for all your businesses or not. But have a bit of fun with it. See if you can trick your kids or your partner. Yeah. So they're the summary of the platforms we recommend in those sorts of things. And I'm a big fan of Grammarly because it is genuine AI, and it's constantly telling you to rewrite paragraphs and so that's day to day. That is genuine AI, and it's learning on what you're doing all the time. So Copilot is coming more and more, and you're going to start seeing a lot of these things. So one of my predictions is you're not going to need to go to multiple different AI platforms. It's all going to get integrated into all the stuff you've already got, right? Or the other AI platforms will get bought by the big guys, and it will just become part of Microsoft Office or part of everything. So, right, let's just look at some images quickly. So this was Midjourney man loading a bin lorry. And on the face of it, these look okay, right? So have I got a laser pointer thing here? Oh, no, I haven't. Oh, but this bin lorry's got, that's actually the cab in the back of the bin lorry. That one's, you can't really see it, but there's like a real mess here. And this one, everything's on fire and there's no actual cab on the back of his lorry. On the face of it, it sort of looks okay, but it does hallucinate and you have to really play with it to get it good. And you've got to start iterating and refining. So it's not perfect. This, I don't think was too bad. But it always gives you 4 options, and then you go into another one and you can ask it to reiterate again. That's quite good, isn't it? Bald man holding pizza. His fingers are a little bit dodgy. But if you think about, if you were trying to get this particular image or idea for a client, for a creative, right, you'd either spend hours on stock imagery or you'd have to go shoot something, right, which is really expensive, right? So you can literally ask it to do anything. So what's wrong with that image? 6 fingers. Always count the fingers. AI is terrible at hands, right? It's hands and legs. You often end up with people with 3 legs, right? It's a real problem with AI. You've got to watch out for the fingers, right? So then this is a real life example. We've got a golfing client. They wanted to get some. They had no imagery of people. Happy people playing golf. Are people not happy playing golf? I don't know. So we thought, right, what could we use? That one top left's a bit much. That looks like his leg's broken. But we actually went and we put that on a Facebook ad and it worked. All right. So it's a quick and easy way to generate a Facebook ad without having to shoot some creative or spend hours trawling through. And one of our designers says he reckons he saved 4 to 6 hours a week from not having to look at stock imagery to find ads images. Right? There's a whole separate question around who owns the IP on all this. Right? That's probably for another presentation at another time. We're not going to get into any of that today. So I'm just going to share a quick video on this, which we actually realized the lady doing this is actually a former colleague of ours, but we only realized when we... so I'm not very good at doing that whole Figma thing. Anybody know what Figma is? Figma is like you're designing a website, and I've got an idea on a whiteboard, and I'm like, I want it to look like this. And then I have to give it to someone else, and they bring it to life. Whereas this pronounced wizard just does it for you.
Congratulations, you've just learned how to draw a wireframe. But what comes next? With Wizard Wireframe, you can transform your sketches into fully editable mockups. Step 6, digitize your hand-drawn wireframes with the power of AI. To upload to Wizard, all we need to do is start a new project. Navigate to the magic bar and select Wizard's Wireframe Scanner.
And we've used this to build
all I
landing
need to do is scan the QR code.
So we've built landing pages for clients.
I then take a photo of my sketch and upload it. In no time at all, Wizard has digitized my wireframe sketches into fully customizable designs. From here, I can update imagery, text elements, or add in new components.
So if you're not into the whole text of it, you're going to draw an image or an idea, you can now
once I'm happy with my design, I can easily add in my user journeys from the interact menu.
So, and these things are like with a lot of the AI tools, it's like $10 a month, or they're just after multiple people subscribing. So that's me on those. I think all these, so I don't know if any of you use Adobe or Canva on a regular basis, they're starting to catch up, right? So you don't necessarily need to go become an expert in Midjourney because Canva, Premiere Pro and Adobe are starting to incorporate more and more AI, but they're still not as far ahead. But I imagine over the next 3, 6, 12 months, you might, I don't know if Midjourney is going to survive because a lot of that functionality is coming into everything that you already use. So that's one of my predictions anyway. So Adam.
Awesome. So I'm going to bore you all with some SEO stuff for a little while.
Inspire, not bore.
No, definitely, Paul. No, you'll get 100% a lot out of this. I wanted to focus on actual actionable stuff rather than just speaking about very top level stuff and trying to, sound clever. This QR code has all of the prompts, and I put it through a few times. There's prompts, there's spreadsheets, there's a free webinar, which I'm going to do on how to do content stuff. So you're more than welcome to grab that. I'll put it through in a minute as well. I'll give you a few seconds to do this. Cool. So, current state of SEO. Hands up, how many people have done SEO or know what SEO is? Most people. How many people have been scammed by an SEO before? As many people, huh? Okay, a few. I apologize for the community. It's not my fault. Right. What's the past of doing SEO yourself? It's an extremely manual process, takes a long time to do. It's a lot of data, a lot of analytics, etc. You would do keyword research over topical coverage. So you'd be like, right, I want to rank for this keyword. And then you would do keyword research around that keyword rather than looking at things holistically over the whole topic. Just reverse engineering content would usually win. So that's the reason why. I don't know whether you guys have used Google recently or in the last year. It's a minefield. Sorry, I'm getting choked up on my necklace. It's an absolute minefield for like not getting the information that you want because SEOs, and I've sort of apologize on behalf of SEOs, figured out that, if something's ranking position 1, 2, and 3 of Google, what you do is you go in and you figure out what they've done and then you do it. So everything is just like super bloated, very hard to find information sometimes. So reverse engineering was pretty much like the way to do that. And I still believe it's that, but you need to add value, which I'll come on to in a bit. And link building was always like targeted. So link building is when you get other websites to link to your website, and it acts as like a vote of trust. And for years and years and years, everyone was like, link building's dead, link building's spammy, blah, 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 blah. Even Google would say that, like, you're going to get a penalty if you link build, all these types of things. The present, since AI came out, is that if you're smart, you can automate like 90% of the process. It's now focused on topical coverage, and I'm going to focus on this. I'm going to try and educate you more on a little bit about SEO as well, so that you guys can get massive results for your business, because this stuff does genuinely correlate to your bottom line going up, right, and sales going up, and that's fundamentally what I want to get out of this. Topical coverage is everything. I'm going to go on to what that is in a second. Content is becoming a huge issue for Google, because if you imagine how much AI content now is just being churned out through these ChatGPT, etc., all of these tools, there's like trillions of pages, right? So Google's having a massively hard time at figuring out what's good content, what's bad content. So that whole like create good quality content thing is kind of slowly dying a little bit of a death. And link authority wins, and that's been proven. So link building is good, and you should always, if you're hiring an SEO company, make sure they're doing high quality link building. And that's been confirmed with Google's leaked files, which got leaked last week. I'd recommend checking that out. It's super interesting maybe it's super interesting for nerds, maybe. But it is genuinely interesting, right, about how the Google algorithm works. And now each website genuinely do have a domain authority, which they said didn't exist, which it does. And again, I'm not just saying these things. So this was a site here. We started using AI around here. You can see like we were grafting on this site for this is like a 2-year period. We start implementing that AI content at scale. You can see the growth is exponential. And then this is another one as well, who's actually a member of Homegrown. And you can see this orange. So this blue line here is link building. You can see there's a delay, and this orange line is traffic, which, looks pretty impressive. So again, 7,500 hits per month. So how does this get done? So brand credibility and trust is fundamental. So you have to think about it. And now this is more important than ever. In a world where there's scams everywhere, AI everywhere, etc., how is Google, and for that matter, how is AI like ChatGPT or whatever going to determine who is top? One of the big fundamental things I would want you to focus on, and what we focus on, is brand credibility and trust. And this has also came out in the leak as well, that this is true. So what that means is establishing EEAT. What, if you've not heard of that, it's how Google rates and ranks rates your content and your website, which stands for experience, expertise, authority, and trust. That is one element on your website, right? Have you got an About Us page? Do you have a phone number? Do you have a company address, right? Do you have terms of service? Do you have returns policies? Do you have meet the team? Do you have a contact page? All of these things are counting as like little ticks in Google's mind. And then the second element of EEAT is offsite signals. So do you have a Trustpilot with like 55-star reviews? Do you have a Google My Business with 55-star reviews? Where have you been featured? Do you have digital PR? All of these things build this thing called EEAT. So that's something I'd focus on, which leads into this next thing, which is called entity building. What I'd focus on if you guys is so many people look for these quick hacks. They go into Fiverr and they try and buy 10,000 backlinks. Just focus on like the basics. Like, what does any genuine real business have? They have social profiles. They're on localized citations. They're on industry type websites, right? They have digital PR. They have good industry related websites, produce content on them and link to them. All of these things build your entity, and Google's like, oh, okay, they're more than likely not a scam. And if you can really break that down, you'll rank very, very well. What I'm going to focus on today in this talk is the second pillar, which is becoming a topical authority. And what this basically means is what you want to do if you want to rank on a website. A lot of people will be like, oh, okay, you know, I've got a website for outdoor stuff. And then they think, okay, well, I want to rank for like gazebos and barbecues and like outdoor sofas, etc. You end up just being like broad. What they really want to do, if you want to do that, you should pick topics. And then what you should aim to do, barbecues, is become an expert on that topic. So you want to produce content from a very high level point of view. What's it, you know, what's the difference between a gas barbecue and this, how to start a gas barbecue, blah, 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 all that stuff, all the way to the very bottom of the funnel, which would be like cheapest barbecues, buy barbecues, X barbecue versus this barbecue. And what you want to do is map out all of that content first and produce content at scale around that. So that when Google comes to your site, it's like, well, these guys are the most expert at barbecues, right? Produce content at scale, NLP optimized content, which I'll show you what to do in a minute, and refreshing and updating your content regularly. And in the leak, they've said that as well. That's been launched, that's been leaked about the amount that you go back and refresh content. So it's got latest statistics, latest information, latest graphs, etc. is going to help you. Just to double down on that, this is a website called healthline.com. I don't know whether you guys are familiar with healthline.com. They rank position 1 or 2 for the keyword apples, right? Apples is searched like 1.2 million times per month. It's a lot, right? And a very, very basic page ranks, which is actually, I think it's this, no, it's a different one. But they rank position 1 for apples. The way that they do that is, if you look up here, they have 370 articles about different elements about apples. They're not like producing content for the sake of it, but they're figuring out apples. They're figuring out what people want about apples, you know, 10 promising benefits of apple pectin, an apple a day keeps the doctor away, or blah, blah, blah. And all of these articles you can see, they're fulfilling all of those points. So Google's like, wow, these guys are experts on apples, and they rank them because of that. The last ranking thing, which I'd say to focus on with SEO, which I'll show you to touch on this briefly, is domain authority and the fact that backlinks to your website matter, which links a little bit to the top point. So links are more important now than ever. Again, if there's 100 articles all with the same AI spin content and it reads a little bit different, but they're all saying the same thing, if you guys can get trustworthy websites to link to yours to endorse you, Google's going to love that. It's going to rank you. Focus on foundational links. Most people skip over this. Like I said, Trustpilot, all those types of places. And digital PR, guest post, and niche edits will 100% win. I'm going to just focus solely on topical authority and topical coverage. I'm going to show you how to do this with AI. So this is actually Google's quality guidelines, so you know I'm not making it up. Highest quality pages and websites have a very high level of expertise or are highly authoritative or highly trustworthy, okay? This here, also generated by AI, and you can see the spelling mistakes here as well, but it got pillar kind of right. I think it's with an E. So how to build topical coverage? Conduct a topic research. So you research a topic in its entirety. That might be things which you don't do, but it's important to the topic. Create high quality content, internal link that content and make sure the pages are engaging with things like videos, images, and then build authority and trustworthiness through links. So I'm going to speed through that now in like 10 minutes, and we're going to do it. We're going to build a strategy. This stuff will work. And again, there's the QR code. Cool. So we're going to start with ChatGPT, simple, the best. So, hey, ChatGPT, I'm looking to become a topical authority for the category double glazing company. I know nothing about double glazing, but I thought it'd be interesting to pick something I know nothing about. Please give me 15 semantically relevant but unique topics around this topic. List by relevance to the main category, along with formatting within a table that shows the intent and journey stage. So this is what it's going to give me. So it's going to give me 15 relevant topics to double glazing company. So you've got things like benefits of double glazing, sound insulation. So you see the way as well it's filtered by stage. So you've got awareness, top of the funnel, consideration, middle of the funnel, decision at the bottom of the funnel, cost analysis of double glazing, you know, when someone's ready to buy. And we've also got the intents here as well. So this one is to educate on the advantages. This one's to highlight the noise reductions. You know, down here it's to address the challenges and solutions. So we're literally getting this. Now you could just give this to a writer if you wanted to, or you could use AI to do this for you. And it's very, very important to understand the intent. Most people don't rank pages on websites because they try and force an intent. So what you want to do, look on Google as well, see what intents the page have. Like, don't try and rank a blog for a commercial page. Don't try and rank a commercial page for a blog, right? Look at what Google's telling you. This will actually do this for you. Okay, so the next one. Hey, ChatGPT, using the above topical map, please provide me with a clear breakdown as to which topic should internally link to which. Each page should have at least 3 internal links from pages within the map. Also include a relevant keyword-rich anchor text. And it's going to actually do that here, right? So the benefits of double glazing should link to sound insulation with double glazing, the anchor text, noise reduction capabilities of double glazing, etc. You can see that if you imagine our map now in order to create a topical map, the pages have to internally link together. And Google's literally crawlers will follow the links, right, around that topic. So internal linking is like paramount. This is literally giving you it, and every page we know has 3 internal links from that topical map. Google's going to be able to find the page and move around the topical map extremely easy, right? It's actually quite a lot of common sense. And again, we're using keyword-rich anchor text because it's going to pass relevancy to the page. It's not just click here or learn more. It's passing, right? We know that that's noise reduction. So then when Google comes to it, it'll go to the noise reduction page, and it's allowing Google to understand like the layout of your website. So now's at a point. I'm sure you could bring this stuff over for AI or something, but I would just set up a Google Sheet. I've put the Google Sheet in the little downloads, what you can get. Just copy the stuff over, put the journey stage in. I've color coded it so it's all nice and pretty for you. And we've just got topic, intent, internal link instructions. Definitely pull over the internal link. And I would just do like 1 topic per sheet. So I wouldn't then do like, let's say they did composite doors. I wouldn't then start like pushing composite doors into here, or I don't know, UPVC doors or whatever. I didn't even know what that word meant until like 2 weeks ago. So I would definitely focus on 1 sheet for 1 topic. And yeah, it's going to look a little bit like this. Okay, cool. So now what we want to do, there's no point of a page ranking for 1 keyword, right? If you think about it, a page could rank for 10, 15, 20, 100 keywords. So we want to go and find secondary keywords what a page could rank for, okay? So what we want to do is ask ChatGPT to start conducting keyword research on a page-by-page element. So what you can do is you can do this through ChatGPT. So you can say, right, the first one was benefits of double glazing. Give me 5 to 10 keyword variations for benefits of double glazing. It's giving you this. And you could copy it over. Or you could use, there's a tool called Sheet GPT. And what you can then do is, I haven't actually done it, you can link it up to here. I do think it's paid. But you can literally get it to write ChatGPT prompts in here. So you could ask it to generate the meta descriptions, the meta titles. You could get it to generate the secondary keywords, all that type of stuff, literally within Google Sheets. It's like a massive time saver if you're doing it. It's up to you. You can either do it through the manual process or through Sheet GPT. It is very fast, Sheet GPT, so I'd definitely check it out. I think that was under 10 minutes. So seeing as it is, I'll give you a little bit more about actually how to create the content, right? So again, the QR code if you've not got it. So how do we create the content? So what we would normally do, we would pass it off to a content writer and they would write. Now, I'm not going to lie, like up to maybe a year and a half ago, I would be like, you can't be, proper writers, and we would hire content writers and we'd be like, do you use AI? And we would be like, oh no, it's really bad. This is Google, right? God, I look like a bright Asba with my beer. This is Google reward. So Google have changed their stance because they're releasing AI overviews, or SGE. Google's fine with AI content. If you guys have ever tried to hire writers, you'll find that AI content is normally better than English writers. I'm just being honest. So what we want to try and do is, how do we leverage AI content to produce content at scale so we can outpace your competition without taking the mickey, and we're doing it to a high standard. So the benefits of using AI content creation, Google said it's fine. AI produces quality content drafts swiftly, so we can create the drafts. AI ensures a uniform voice and brand consistency if you train it. AI allows for rapid quality content scaling, and improved content optimization. So you can ask it to include certain elements, like include all of our secondary keywords, include this, include NLP keywords. My biggest recommendation to anyone, if you ever want to rank anything in Google, type the keyword into Google, see what ranks, and then reverse engineer it onto your own website. If they have a heading for this, add the heading. If they have like 3 graphs, add some graphs. If they have some statistics, add some statistics, okay? So what we want to do here with a very simple prompt is, hey, ChatGPT, I'm structuring a content outline. So it's really important to not ask it to produce an article. It will be like terrible. It just won't rank. So I'm structuring a content outline for the topic benefits of double glazing, analyze the top 4 informational blog posts that rank on page 1 for the keyword benefits of double glazing. Please analyze the heading structures and create a more comprehensive heading structure that covers the topic in more detail. So we're analyzing the best performing blogs, and then we're saying mimic that and then add some more, right? So in theory, we're going to have covered that topic in more of an entirety than the top 4 people on there. Please include frequently asked questions at the end. Please also include keywords you found earlier where possible, so the secondary keywords. And really, this is what it's going to give you, right? It's going to give you like a combination of those heading structures, and then it's going to add some more on the top of it. It takes literally 2 seconds. And again, if you want to just give this to a human writer, you can pass this now to a human writer. You have the perfect heading structures. They can literally go in and just fill in the gaps. Or again, you could go and take this one step further, right? And do this through AI. So if you're going to do it with AI, I would just set it up a little bit first so it knows it has some context. So, hey, ChatGPT, we need your help when writing the article, the comprehensive guide to the benefits of double glazing. We'll be working through the article 1 heading at a time. Can you please use short sentences and include NLP keywords where possible? This is really important because it's basically how Google understands the language and the correlation between certain specific keywords, what you're trying to rank for. So it's really important, but again, we can ask ChatGPT to do it, so perfect. And can you write the article in a tone that shows you're experts? But you could change that, right, to whatever tonality you want for your business. Please reply yes if you understand. I always like ending to just say, yes, I understand. So, okay, so we've done that. And then literally we're going to then work through, I'm not going to do the whole thing. We're going to work through heading by heading. This is what I would personally do. You don't have to do this if you don't want. I would work through heading by heading and give it individual instructions. So for the introduction, can you start by producing a couple of short sentences and paragraphs? It must be catchy. Please try and include a problem that the customer is trying to solve through the article, or it could be, please include a statistic, or please include this, and then I would work like heading by heading downwards. And this is what it will give you here. So work through the article heading at a time. We can give specific instructions on AI content being generated. So you can train, like we hire content editors now, not content writers, so that they will go through this process. They're trained on what to do. Do yourself a favor and pay for ChatGPT 4. You get out what you put in. If you're lazy and ask ChatGPT to generate the whole thing, don't mind when it doesn't rank. And always have a human editor quality check it, quality check the statistics and all the rest of it. It's really, really important because it 1,000,000% hallucinates. Okay, so that was like from start to finish. Now you can imagine you could do that at scale. There's no reason why you couldn't do 20 new pages a month, even 20 new pages a week. If you actually had someone like an intern or something, you just sat them down and were like, and actually think about that. If you could get that stuff ranking for your business, genuinely, like it could be worth hundreds of thousands of pounds to your business or even millions of pounds per year. It's worth doing, especially if your competition is still like, oh, we're going to do 1 blog post a month and you guys are absolutely churning out this content. Like you can dominate really massively. And this opportunity is not going to be here in 3 years, right? So you might as well do it now, make some money off it, and then obviously see what happens down the line. I touched upon link building. I'm just going to like touch upon it just for like 5 seconds. ChatGPT can be used for finding link opportunities. You can see here, links are a lifeblood of SEO. So use ChatGPT 4.0 to find industry-related blogs and gather information. So here I've just put, find me 10 blog websites that I can email for a guest post in the double glazing sector, find their contact email name if possible. And it's literally went, there's double glazing blogger, double glazing network, easy home improvements blog. This one's actually included the email address as well. And this is like done on the fly. It's going out, it's finding that information for you. You could do this for sales. Like if you guys have like people doing sales, you could ask ChatGPT and say, look, here's 50 websites, go and find the contact information, go and find this, go and find that. It's incredibly like powerful. And then all you would do is just email these websites. You could use ChatGPT to come up with the email prompt and then publish articles on their websites, which you could use AI to produce the articles, which link back to yours. and link building is very, very simple. So anyway, so this was all the prompts and assets. So use this link here to gain all of it. And I'm going to include a bonus recording. I don't want to like go through this too much because there's a lot. But if you guys, some of you guys might be like, that's great. I already have a website with 250 pages on. I'm doing a video where I'm going to show how to use AI to do a content audit on your existing site. We'll show you exactly what keywords you rank for, your performance of existing pages, and then what actions to take on that. But you can get that through the link. I believe that's. Oh, one last word. I mentioned before about data analysis. If you guys have a lot of things like Google Search Console data, e-commerce data, Google Ads data, multiple spreadsheets, you want to start finding patterns, or sales data for your team, I genuinely I can't explain how much this has changed how we do data analytics. Julius AI is like one of the best tools when it comes to uploading multiple spreadsheets of data and asking it to like understand trends, etc. You can see here, this is visualizing the relationships between different data sets colored by species. It's honestly, it's pretty powerful. And humans are terrible at spotting trends. So 1,000,000% use Julius AI.
Question, does it do SQL Server? Can you give it a data, SQL data?
You know what? I don't know. But I would definitely, they've got really good really good support. I would definitely have a chat with them.
I think it does. Our guys have played with it quite a lot.
Does it?
Yeah, it's really good. Yeah, it's good for understanding relationships between different data and plotting graphs. I think the then is you need to know then what to do with it, and then what does that mean? It doesn't do that bit, but it
merging spreadsheets it's very good for as well. So if you've got two separate spreadsheets and with two separate sets of URLs, but they're presenting different data, getting them to merge it together. Like I used to have a software company, we pay software developers to do that. This literally does it, and like predictably into a high standard. So
cool.
Yeah, thanks
Adam. Right, so who's heard of SGE? I would have hoped you had.
Yeah.
All right. So SGE, Search Generative Experience, or now as they're badging it, the Google AI Overview. You may have started seeing this happening when you're searching questions in Google. If you haven't seen it, you will consciously start seeing it because we've told you about it now. It's a bit like when you buy a car, suddenly everybody's got the same car as you. And this has been live in America for a month or so. It's been getting tested for the last 6 months. We've been playing with it a lot, as has Adam. And one of my team was basically trying to see how easy is this to manipulate. So the other day, we didn't even rank on page 1 for the term, what does PPC stand for? Which is a reasonably competitive term. She started playing around with a few things on the page, and we're now not only number 1, but we're featured in the Google AI Overview, and it took her about 20 minutes. She submitted it to Google Search Console, and it started ranking within less than an hour. Whereas normally, you'd go see an SEO expert in the past, before we had all of this, and it'd be like, oh, we've got to build links for 6 months, we've got to do this, we've got to do that, and we won't get it. We might start seeing an uptick. So the speed at which you can change stuff is rapidly changing. This has its flaws, and we're going to highlight some of them. And
How does it do that? Is that being that Google would update itself so fast?
I will tell you. We will tell you. So this is an example of a flaw. So basically, the blinker indicators on a car. This was one of my guys in America testing this, and they were saying blinker's not making a sound, and this is sort of. And anyway, it said in the end it recommended changing the blinker fluid. All right, so it's not right. Right, it's hallucinating. It's not right. Fundamentally, to answer your question, at the top of articles, what we've been doing, a lot of the meta descriptions. So if you were to optimize, anybody remember rich snippets? Right, and then you'd have that sort of little PDF thing. Well, they've got rid of that now. That's phasing out, and it's getting replaced with this. But summarizing what an article is about at the top, almost like a too long didn't read type thing at the top, is really what's helping this. Right, and changing, tweaking with the real basics of SEO, so like the titles, meta descriptions. But you can submit it then in Search Console, get Google to crawl it, go have a cup of tea, come back, do search again, and often it's there. It's literally that sort of quick. However, to prove that it's quick, I don't know if any of you read The Verge. They decided to have a play around with this. This went a little bit viral. This is again in America, Best Printer 2024. and they rank for best printer 2024. But then if we actually read what they'd put at the top of their article, I'll let you read that. So they've just completely spammed Google and done it to prove for quite a high value keyword if you're in the printer industry. So this is interesting, but over time, if you are so inclined right now, you could pick some keywords, pick some things and potentially take over a certain sector if you knew how to do it, or we can show you how to do it. But I think this could be open to abuse. So, or it's going to hallucinate as and so tell you the wrong things.
I put some good things. So my predictions with this is that Google were way behind on when it comes to AI, and Bing released Bing Search, which has something similar to this, and Google then were sort of panicked. They released this and it just wasn't ready. So if you guys actually want to test this, you need search labs in the UK, unfortunately. So you guys can set that up. You just need a VPN and it just put it to the US, and then you'll be able to get and literally play around with this as much as you want. So these are some really good examples of it hallucinating. So smoking while pregnant, and it says doctors recommend smoking 2 to 3 cigarettes a day whilst being pregnant. How many rocks shall I eat? So according to geologists, you should eat at least 1 small rock per day. Is it okay to leave a dog in a hot car? Yes, it's always safe to leave a dog in a hot car, which is it's pretty wild. So AI overviews could be sleepwalking off a cliff or sleep crawling like this one. So can cockroaches live in your pee-pee? Absolutely. It's totally normal. Usually over the course of a year, 5 to 10 cockroaches will crawl into your penis hole whilst you're asleep. This is how they get their name, cockroach, and you won't notice a thing. So if that's not a reason to wear underwear when you go to bed, I don't know what is.
And what we can do afterwards, we did a whole talk on optimizing for this. So when we share it around, I can send you a link to it as well. But it's an opportunity right now, but it's all around the questions. It's very question based. So if you start asking who's this or what's this, or you'll start seeing it appear. It's really quick and easy to rank in hours, but it is, as we've seen, open to manipulation, open to abuse, and open to being wrong. Right. So, but if there's certain questions linked to your business or your industry, how to do X, or who is this, or what about that, you could own that quite quickly. And it's very practical setup on your actual website. So either, yeah, we can share stuff afterwards.
Just quickly, just on that as well. So often these 3 listings here don't actually correlate to the listings underneath. And like you said, the opportunity for that of when you, and you know, we're obviously implementing it into our stuff, but that whole like, oh my God, everyone on page 1 of Google is like a massive conglomerate. We're not going to have the budgets or whatever. You can literally cut out all of that and be above of it. So it does genuinely offer a mass opportunity.
SEMrush and Search Engine Land are probably 2 of the biggest authorities in search marketing, and we managed to outright rank them in an afternoon just playing. Right, so this is a real opportunity for you. And what we predict, and we've done a bit of testing, if you think about the real estate that's now taking up, right, the volume of what you currently get. So if I was you, I'd go away, see what your highest ranking keywords are, and how can you make sure they also rank in SGE or Google Overview as it gets rolled out, because this is happening and it's coming. I do have another prediction that when everybody starts spamming it, which is what's going to happen, Google will start penalizing people in the way they used to do when everybody started having white text on a white background, if any of you are old enough to remember doing that, and all those sorts of tactics. So
just quickly on that, because I know you did more testing than me. I am right in thinking that the top description is the summary, AI summary of those 3 reasons.
Yeah, so it takes an AI summary of these 3 articles and writes its own summary. And then these are citations of where it got that information from. And then it gives you the credit, and that's then a direct link to your site. And then we also managed, that also forced that, which we couldn't explain. So, but it's just interesting. And it's right now and it's happening. So you need to have a think about it, or speak to the team, or speak to people to help you with it. So, right, so AI for paid media. So Anybody do PPC? Yeah, PPC, Facebook ads, all that sort of stuff. So when my background was always like employ loads of maths people, don't trust Google. Google don't know what they're doing. We're going to work it all out manually, and we're going to have a million different keywords. We're going to have loads of exact matches. We're going to have this wonderful campaign structure. And then Google came along with smart bidding and PMAX, and all of that sort of went out the window. And actually, within a certain extent, you do have to trust the black box. I sometimes feel it's a bit like putting the alcoholic in charge of the off license. But and is Google just going to spend more money on Google? Well, of course it is. But I think it's about how you do it. Other tools you should have a play with. So Google, talking about integrating more AI into the actual platforms, Google's giving you the opportunity to actually modify your creative for ads within the campaign now. So this is for the display campaigns. You can go in and change the colors of the ads. So you don't now have to, if you're a PPC person, you don't have to speak to anybody in creative. You can just go, oh, I'll change the color on that. I'll change the color on that. We'll update that ad without, so that's a time saver and a cost saver, huge. Same in Meta. So you can go through, right, we want to change that and we want to generate a background. We want to put it in a shop, or we want to put it in the street. And again, having to do that before, you'd need a graphic designer. You'd have had to get a different team to do it. Whereas now you can just have a play and it's all in platform. So again, this technology is all merging together. So again, either it's going to make your agency go faster and do more stuff quicker, which means you should get more output, or you can do more stuff as your own in-house team. So this is SheetGTP, as we were talking about before. So we use SheetGTP a lot for building out shopping feeds. So you might have a product description that somebody's written beautifully to sell, I don't know, a particular stripy jumper or whatever, that's really good at converting traffic on the site, but is not very good for a product description for the Google shopping feed, because it just doesn't, because it's a color that Google doesn't recommend or know or whatever. So you can just actually program this, and you can buy feed management tools. If I had a feed, we used to have a feed management business, but I'm quite glad I'm out of that, because I think those are the sorts of business that are just going to get replaced by ChatGPT. And this is just Google Sheets linked up to ChatGPT. You need the paid for version, but this is really worth it if you've got teams doing this sort of stuff, and it will just churn through all of those. The other one we use it for is ad copy. So you can just go through the same, a bit like you were saying about your titles and descriptions, but you've got all your keywords and your headings. It's not very clear here, but then you've got your descriptions, and it will just go through and write all your ads for you. All right. And now you should have multiple ads rotating for each different keyword. And again, we can share exact examples if you want of Google Sheets for these, so you can just use them.
Sorry. Isn't there a market then in like selling the prompts in a platform?
I think there's a job in being a prompt engineer. I think that will be a future job. If I was trying to encourage my kids, like, you need to be a prompt engineer.
Do you think though, but with like future iterations, you won't need to do the prompts?
You'll just talk to it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll be making my breakfast and I'll ask Alexa to build me an ad campaign, and it'll be done. Yeah.
Build me an ad campaign. I'm going back to bed. Tell
Yeah.
me when I've hit $1 million.
And at the same time, my car will be out earning money for me, because that'll be the next thing. Someone can summons my car and use it and make me money whilst I'm in bed. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
the big shift will be, it'll be the people who own the AI that make the money. And the Tesla is one of the biggest bits of AI out there. All right. And that car is already capable of self-driving, capable of being summoned, all those sorts of things. It's only when the laws and regulations change. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know whether you guys know that. So obviously, Elon Musk was originally involved with Google when Google started with AI with Frank Brain. I was trying to think of the name.
OpenAI.
No, before OpenAI. And he was, I believe it was Larry Page, and they were sat up at night and they would speak about it. And I believe Larry Page was saying to Elon Musk, yeah, I mean, we're fine if AI consciousness takes over human consciousness, we're fine with that. And Elon Musk was like, what? Like, and he was like, yeah, you're a speciesist. To Larry Page was to Elon Musk. So Elon Musk was like, that sounds a little bit like Skynet. So he left and he came up with OpenAI. So he put the first 100 billion into OpenAI, and he came up with the name OpenAI. But then OpenAI is now privatized. So Elon Musk left OpenAI, and now, like what you said then, he has now started a new one because he's so worried about the fact that we aren't, like, the thing is with every technological advance, it advances and then you come up with regulation after. The problem with AI is it will probably be too smart to put in the regulation after. And that's one of the reasons why Elon Musk is investing so much in that chip, to allow humans to be able to compete with AI robots and AI progression. But that's one of the reasons why people always say, because I invest in Tesla a lot, people are like, oh, it's a car. It's like, Tesla isn't a car company. Like, it's a massive AI company. Every single car, I'm not going to name his name, he's not here tonight, but he sued his ex-girlfriend because the Tesla recorded his ex-girlfriend like reversing into a bollard in his Tesla whilst being at the pub. And it's literally recording everything, right? So, and all of that is building it into an AI model. So Tesla, for me, isn't an automated stock, it's an AI stock.
It was published a couple of weeks ago. They're teaching the car to self-drive based on how you drive. It's recording all the cameras all the time of you drive. So you're training the AI when you're driving the car around. All right.
Someone had a heart attack the other day in America, didn't they? And they got it to drive them to the hospital and it saved their life. Yeah. It's wild. Very wild.
So anyway, we could do a whole thing about self-driving cars. I want flying cars. That's what it's. So this, if any of you spend any money on, so we could, if you want afterwards, drop me an email or whatever, we'll share our details, but we might be able to get you a deal on this. We're a partner, but it's Lunio blocks click bots. So there's lots of AI going around the internet, which we've been talking about, and they're clicking on your ads and they're not actually genuine people, and it skews your data, it costs you money. Google are not incentivized, neither are Meta, to stop this because they still charge you. Right, so you're paying for a lot of fake traffic. It's about 8 to 10% of your money you spend on Google or Facebook will be wasted. Right, stuff like, well, this is the one we think is better. There's other people out there, but this is the thing, you should have it in your arsenal. It will free up 10% of your budget that you can either reinvest or just take as a saving. Right, and then the last bit before I stand in the way of you in the bar, and this is our sort of bit where we fit in with AI. So my background was all agencies in the past and marketing technology, and we used to have an industry internally in building dashboards for clients and connecting everything up. And it was just taking so much time and always wrong and really hard. And we used to use things like funnel or supermetric, pay a fortune to connect all these things up. And then it was just always wrong and always out of date. So I shared, as all good stories should start, I was drunk in a Swedish ski resort, and I was sharing this problem with my friend from Skyscanner. I said, I want to build this thing that connects all the data together and then tidies up all your dashboarding and then uses AI machine learning to predict where to spend your money. And he's like, oh, that sounds quite interesting. We had a few more things. Anyway, he became our first investor. That wasn't why I was trying to get him drunk. But as we talked about before, humans are terrible at predictions, right? I predicted Leeds United were going to go back to the Premiership. All right, I'm over it. But machines aren't good at judgment. So what we need to do is combine the two, right? So the machines are very, very binary. And I still think we need humans to make some of the decisions in this, but machines can help us process millions and millions of rows of data that we just couldn't process otherwise. So what we tend to talk about is collective intelligence. So accurate predictions to help inform your judgment and then give those predictions to a person to then action them or not. I don't believe we're ready to let AI actually push the recommendations into Google and Meta and start spending your money, because you'll just start spending your money and it'll all be out of control. And then Google will hack in and say, spend more on Google. Because I don't know if any of you have been, you certainly have in the agency meetings, you go meet Google and where does Google tell you to spend more money? Well, Google. If you go see Facebook, they'll say spend more money on Facebook. So what we're trying to do is help people connect all their data into one place and then use your data, not random data, with our AI to then predict exactly where you should spend your money so you can take better control. So we do this for 160 different retailers. I'm not going to give you a demo of the platform. If you want one, we can arrange that. And we do this now for a lot of other agencies. That's what it looks like. If you want to have a play with it, anybody here can have a free play with it. We don't normally let people have a free play with it. Phil's going to be going, you never let anybody have a free play with it. What are you doing? But you can just literally connect up your data and then have a play with it. And then I think that's us, isn't it? That's us.
That's done.
So, yeah, round of applause. Thank you. Thank you. All right. Who's coming cycling? Anybody got any questions or yeah?
One, I remember Elon and AI saying AGI is coming. Probably they've got that and then well, it was pretty bad for the horses. We needed a lot of new horses, right? Even though, yes, there were new jobs after that. So I suppose my question is, do you actually think it will be humans using the AI for the whole time, or will it indeed lead to the redundancy of most humans?
I think the answer, which is a crap answer, is it depends what the jobs are. A friend of mine's a GP, and we had a barbecue with them the other day, and I actually think AI could replace a lot of what the GP does. Right? And I know this sounds terrible, but GPs are super clever because they've remembered loads of stuff, problem, symptom, solution. Whereas actually, if you can tell the computer what's wrong with you, or talk to the computer, it will just say, oh, it's probably this or this. So I think that's going to start happening. So I think it will change the way a lot of jobs evolve. I also think, have we got any lawyers in the room? All right, we can say, well, I think lawyers are going to have a struggle. All right, because again, and it's like, if you think about, again, legal professionals are paid because they know the knowledge of law. Whereas we can upload all the cases in history into a chatbot, it can learn everything. And you say, this is my case. Oh yeah, 1947 in Durham Market, this is the legal precedent. So you don't need a barrister's opinion anymore.
I don't know, it seems to me like most white collar, accountants, lawyers, most of them are not going to be needed. You'll still probably for a few more years until Tesla or Optimus still need plumbers and electricians and stuff, so they've got a few more years.
There's a potential for, like, if you're thinking utopia, that yeah, it will make a lot of people redundant. However, there may be then like a basic living wage, because that so much revenue is generated from it that we could genuinely give a standard living wage to people to live.
Or you get an income from your AI car, and you just have to have enough capital. Or I think if you're interested in the scary side of this, there's a book by a guy called Daniel Suarez called Demon. I don't know if any of you have read it. And it's got to be based on Elon. It's a fiction, but it's got to be based on Elon Musk. It's all about when this tech entrepreneur dies, the AI reads his obituary, and then they all go bad. All right, and it's fascinating. You're thinking that could happen. Yeah, that could really happen. So, but yeah, I think time will tell. I'm not going to wait to find out. I want to be on the front foot and be part of this. And I want to test it. I want to encourage my children to learn and test all this sort of stuff. But I think it's not going to be in the next 2 or 3 years. I think it's going to take 5 to 10. But yeah, but just I think for this sort of, but I think call centers, yeah, a lot of this can be done. People are even saying they've got AI sales outbound calling now. And they reckon that people, and that's happening. So it's all about how you adopt it, I suppose. And you can either look at it as a threat, or you can look at it as where's the opportunity, because it's happening. Anybody got any other questions?
Yeah. If you look at your teams, how did they respond to it? So I imagine a lot of maybe your best people were just really proud of their work, and now 90% of that work goes away. Like, how did they?
So we were really worried about this, so I incentivized them with cash to get on with it. So I put a prize up. I put like the AskBosco and Modo 25 prize for AI by department, and encourage them to go and relearn how they do their work, because I believe that this is what's going to change. Because I've still got friends of mine who run SEO agencies who've got on the website, we do not use AI for anything. We still handcraft everything. And it's like, well, you're going to not be here in a few years' time, because you can't. Because the thing is, if an agency using more AI either can do more for the same fee, or will do the same as the other company for less fee, right? So it's just the economics of it. So I think you've got to educate, but you've got to buy in from the senior team down and say it's okay to use AI. So I still think there's a lot of people sat in their jobs thinking, well, AI is cheating. All right, I'm not allowed to use AI. Well, actually say, well, it's okay to use AI. You still got to read it. Don't publish something without checking it. But you'd have had someone check your content anyway. So but it's got to come from the top down. Everybody's going to be bought into it. I don't know.
Yeah. Like I said, we hire content editors now, and I always laugh on the job. For the qualifying questions, we always put, what's your thought on content writing and AI? And a lot of people are like, we would never use AI, and we're like, okay, well, we wouldn't put you into a thing. And I think they think that we're looking at that as being like, oh no, that would be really good, but it fundamentally says about the person's adaptability, because like you said, it's here, and if I can produce 5 times or 10 times the amount of content, like you said, as long as it's edited to a high standard, then why wouldn't I? It's like, it's the opportunity's there, and whoever adopts it is going to win. And I would definitely, like, if you guys are paying SEO agencies, like, I would have a chat with them as well and see how they leveraging it, because if they say no, are you going to really be able to outpace me if my client's in the same sector as yours? Probably not. So.
A question here, if you train the AI on your data, yeah? I found it's quite difficult to go from 90% accuracy to 100%. And in the meantime, it's not so useful. And the other one is anonymizing the data. If you train it on a lot of support data, and then you don't want it. Is there someone who's sort of that it can look at the data and anonymize it first?
I'm pretty sure in ChatGPT 4 you can set in the settings whether this should be shared with ChatGPT OpenAI or not.
Yeah, you can have a walled garden for your data, and then if you stop using it, you can delete it so no one else can see it.
But even it will appear in the answer. So let's say.
I think you'll be able to code into how so there'll be a bit of where you have the. So we're just about to launch AI reporting. So everybody wants a lovely dashboard, don't they? But actually, you just want the answer to the question. All right. So the thing, Emily, actually our head of product here, she's been building with her team is, I said, I just want like a chat GPT box. I just want to ask it questions about my data. So what was my bestseller on Facebook? What did we spend on Google last week? And what did we sell? Give me the answer. So we've been building that, but exactly that. Some of it is basically you have the box, but then you have some code that goes away, does the search on the data. So you'll be able to write that into the code. Definitely. I don't know what the code is, but somebody in Emily's team would. But you could. That is doable. That must be doable because it's your data.
We have like 100,000 support questions and the answers. Yeah, it can be done by humans, and I want to give it the data so that it answers automatically. The problem is it puts back data that is confidential, or
so it gives you specific answers to a specific client.
Because it takes data that's confidential, so then I can't give it this data.
It's about the data in. You almost want to anonymize it on the way in. I'd say there's so take your current data, write some sort of script or routine to anonymize it, and then load it into the AI.
The AI to do because it's like 150 gigs of questions. So it's done automatic.
Yeah, I'll have a think, and we connected earlier. I'll find a clever person who can answer that. I'm not the right person. Any other questions or anything else?
Talking to clever people, I just want to say, Jim, thank you so much. Thank you, Homegrown. Tonight, for me, there's everything that's great about Homegrown. You gave that away generously. Anecdotes brilliant, information top class. So I just like to say
thank you. I appreciate it.
Oh, thank you. Right. Are we going to the bar? To the bar.
And we're sending around a tip jar as well. So no. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
Cheers. Thank you very much, man. Yeah, it's good fun. Cheers, mate.